Hey, everybody, it's me, Mark Wiggins. Welcome to Off the Bench Magazine. I'm ecstatic and beyond calm to have on the illustrious. I've been using a lot of big words on people, Brother Reid, lately. I just be all excited. I got Jason Reid. He is a senior NFL writer for ESPN and also for the Undefeated, which is now AndScape. So he does a lot of writing there, and we got him on today to talk to us about his book, The Black Quarterback. So, Jason Reid, welcome to the show. You know, I don't do bios. Everybody knows who you are, so let's get right to it. Talk to me about the impetus for this book.
Well, brother, for me, it really was. It was really a passion project because if you're a black man in this country of a certain age, you remember Doug Williams and his performance in the Super Bowl. If you were a young man at the time, you remember the older black men in your family, the uncles and the older cousins and, fathers, just seeing how much it meant to them, because for so long, we were told we couldn't play the quarterback position because we weren't smart enough. We weren't leaders. And to see Doug Williams break through like that, it was such an important moment for black people in this country. And moving forward, even though Doug Williams had that performance, there still were not a lot of black quarterbacks in the NFL for a very long time because, again, it was the most important position. And they being the white people who controlled the league, white men, they didn't think that we could do it even after what Doug Williams did. They thought, okay, well, this is just a one-off. Okay, he had a fluke performance. So, moving forward, in my job covering the NFL for ESPN, I've gotten to know Doug Williams really well. And we were having dinner one night before the 2019 season, and he had just said to me that there are more superstar black quarterbacks now than there ever have been. And I hadn't really thought about it, but he was right. So I went to my editors at ESPN and I said to them before the season, hey, I'd like to spend the whole year just looking at black quarterbacks in the NFL because I think it's going to be like a year that we've never seen before. And as it turned out, Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl and was a Super Bowl MVP. Lamar Jackson was the league MVP. Kyler Murray was the rookie of the year. Russell Wilson had a great year. Dak Prescott had a great year. Deshaun Watson had a great year. So it really was the year of the black quarterback in the NFL. And after that season, I thought to myself, well, how did we get to this point? Yeah, I know we got to this point, generally speaking, because black men were not allowed to play the position because it was the most important position and people didn't look at us as, being capable, white people. So I really wanted to take a look at this whole process and how we got here. And that's how we got to Rise of the Black Quarterback.
That is phenomenal. I'm sure the discussion with Doug Williams was phenomenal. Again, you are in it every day. You sit down and get to talk to Black history, and you get that perspective of what they really went through and how they did. And it is fascinating how when we do it, it's an anomaly, and then we do it well long term, then we need to kind of adjust some things. But Exactly. They always say that the NFL is a copycat league. So you get one, then I need to get one, and I do mean one, and then I will get another one. And all of a sudden, here we are at the draft for 2023. We got what, 3-4 black quarterbacks on top?
Well, yeah, the interesting thing about this draft, brother, and I'm going to write about this before I leave for Kansas City. The draft is this year. You could have a situation this year where not only do 3 black quarterbacks go in the first round, but they could go 1, 2, and 3. And, back in 1999, Donovan McNabb, Dante Culpepper, and Achilles Smith all were first-round draft picks. That was the first time in the history of the NFL draft that 3 black quarterbacks were taken in the first round. But the debate now is, okay, could these 3 guys, Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, and Bryce Young, could they go 1, 2, and 3? And there are a lot of people out there thinking that might happen, and that would really, in the draft after Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts became the first 2 black quarterbacks to start in one Super Bowl, to then have 3 black quarterbacks drafted 1, 2, and 3, it would really just be another example of how the black men at that position have really become incredibly prominent. It wasn't just that Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts were the first 2 black quarterbacks to start against each other in the Super Bowl. They also finished 1-2 in the NFL MVP voting. Patrick Mahomes was the first team All-Pro quarterback. Jalen Hurts was a second team All-Pro quarterback. So, by any metric, you had the best two quarterbacks in the NFL last year are black men. And then going to this draft, black quarterbacks could go 1, 2, 3. And most people expect that, even if most draft analysts, I should say, expect that even if they don't go 1, 2, and 3, they're probably going to go within the first 5 picks.
First 5 picks. That's phenomenal. Now, before we get into the other issues, because we can talk black quarterbacks all day, and I got questions. Back to your book, The Rise of the Black Quarterback. When you were in doing your research and talking to the quarterbacks, what did you find the most intriguing thing about them in that position and the time frame that they played football?
Yeah, that's a great question. Being a black man, I did not think I could be surprised about any of the stories of racism that the pioneers told me about. Because, even like I wasn't old enough to remember Jim Crow in the South. I was born after segregation, but you hear stories from older people in your family, you study history in school. But what really got me, brother, was just the anecdotes of just the racism that these guys had to face. The Doug Williams, James Shaq Harris, Marlon Briscoe, who's no longer with us. Just the things that were done to them that they had to overcome to kind of light a path for all the brothers that followed them. So that was just the stories of the racism, the individual situations they faced. That was the biggest thing for me. And and the thing is, it surprised me because I didn't think I could be surprised about stories of racism, because we've heard so many of them. But that's what got me.
Wow, that's crazy, because we know they existed, and then we kind of forget about it when they're playing. Look at them. This one's ours. Look at him. He's great for us. But by the way, go sit over there, and we're not going to pay you either. And you're not really real. You know what I'm saying? It's like that still exists. I mean, you've got the good old boy billionaire boy system, who maybe allowing a black owner in here in Washington. That's yet to be seen. I'll believe it when the deal is done. I'm hoping for it. But then at the same time, you got quarterbacks who are still fighting for and still pioneering. We got Lamar Jackson going to a war with Baltimore by himself. He ain't got no attorney. He doesn't have no representation. And I wish they would leave that alone. Like, he's not smart enough. Like, he doesn't have anybody behind him, nowhere. Like, he's just doing this on his own on a computer and a laptop, and just going to make this happen.
Yeah.
So, I kind of want him to sit out, because I don't like Baltimore. But I want him to get what he deserves, because he definitely deserves it. I'm not sure why they won't pay him. So I'm sure these stories are not exclusive to what we're seeing now. They started way, way back in, underpaid, undervalued, and mistreated, but yet and still, the black quarterback leveled up the whole sport.
Yeah, and that's really the story of, that's our story in this country. You look at how most of us came over here, or at least our ancestors came over here. The ones that were able to survive, the voyage, and then came here, and then look at how low we started. But it's really a story of perseverance.
Yeah.
That, and as we slowly chipped away, and we showed what we could do. Even despite these enormous obstacles and these hurdles that were put in front of us. So when I look at the black quarterback in the NFL, I really look at it as the same parallel with black people in our experience in this country.
I don't think that point could be no more poignant than when it came to Colin Kaepernick. We that was just you wrote on that. Give me your thoughts on it, because I'll be off on a whole nother tangent. But tell me, you're writing this, and what were your thoughts on this?
Well, I spent in my job for ESPN, even before writing the book, I spent so much time, especially back in 2016, 2017. I mean, basically, that was my job. I traveled across the country writing about, going to different NFL cities and writing about, the reaction and what people were saying and how this was being viewed. And look, we can have a debate about how many teams Colin Kaepernick could have started for after he was basically shut out from the league following the 2016 season. But you can't have a discussion with me that he was not good enough to be on a roster. And the bottom line is that the forces within the game, the owners, the people who control the game, they did not want him in the game because they were angry that he, potentially was going to mess with their money. Okay, by having white fans, be so angry about this that they weren't going to come out to games and they weren't going to watch games on TV. And I say white fans because all the polling around the issue of protesting systemic oppression and police brutality, all the polling really breaks down along racial lines, where generally speaking, Black people understood what he did and were generally supportive of it, and white people were generally not supportive of it and were angry about it. So it was definitely a chapter I felt I needed to have in the book, obviously, because Kaepernick, had Kaepernick been Patrick Mahomes, Kaepernick was a good quarterback. You can't debate that. But had he been a superstar like Patrick Mahomes, I don't think they would have had a choice. They would have had to let him stay in the league. But he was just good enough or just not good enough. They can say, well, we really don't need you, that type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, that was just bad. I know it was definitely along racial lines where you could see like, wait a minute, how do you just grab this dude off the dung heap and still getting jobs? What quarterbacks are still out there that we've forgotten that were even drafted are still out here as backward quarterbacks and are still in the league? And here we go, we got this dude who took San Francisco, was almost there, and then nothing because someone just tried to be conscious and take a stand publicly, which we all should be doing. On things that matter the most. And this was a matter of the most moment. And unfortunately, he had to be that one. He had to be the martyr for the sport. And as a result, some changes did happen. The negotiations were made. And I'm almost glad he didn't come back, Jason. I'm glad he did not come back to play. I think it would have been awkward, and anything he did would have been hypered. And it was always been about Black Lives Matter. Were you too unfocused? Did you really work out? And they'd have found a reason to make him not be good enough to justify him coming back. So I'm glad he didn't come back to play and face all that stuff. But nonetheless, it was just, I know your book has gotten a lot of great reviews and you're all over the place. And, much like when I was Pole Mark, you were never at chapter meeting because you were always somewhere reporting football. However, for the record, if I needed Brother Reid, he was answering the call. I will give that up to him all the time. And we're always
super proud of you. I appreciate you, brother.
Now, as you come to this book is done, you're back into the season. Is there another book coming? We're going to have a discussion about the Black running back or the Black tackle. What are we going to talk about?
Yeah, brother. I've been asked about this, and I would like to do another one at some point, but it's a lot of work and the time to research it properly. There are people who throw books together, but that's not the way I approach things. And so, I would definitely like to write another one. There's so many great subjects out there, but as far as when, I'm not sure. I'm trying to get through the NFL draft, and then before I know, training camps are going to open up. So I definitely like to do another one, but as far as the timing, I'm just not certain yet.
Maybe you should write a kid's book. Maybe it'll be less research. Make a kid's book. Something out there to have kids become better quarterbacks. I don't know. But Jason, listen, I know it's very, again, an honor for you to be here. And again, as your past Pole Mark of the Dudleysburg chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, the country club, to have you out here in this ether and to see you popping up all the time in restaurants and the airport, bruh's texting, Jason's on. We are so proud of you. We are proud of the work that you're doing, that you were doing before you met us, and that you continue to do at a high level, not because of us, because of who you are. So thank you for that. And anything you need from us on this side, please let us know. And again, y'all go out and get this book, The Rise of the Black Quarterback by Jason Reid, wherever you get your books, bookstores, online, get a copy. And if the brother's in town doing a book signing, please go out to support him, because he is that dude. He is that dude. Bro, I appreciate you.
Hey, brother, listen, you know how much I appreciate you. And I just, it's such a great feeling, when you're in the bond and, brothers reach out and it's great. And especially you, brother, you know what I'm talking about. You've always had my back, and I appreciate you so much, brother. And just thank you for everything.
Absolutely, good brother. Absolutely. And that's it, everybody. That's for me on this interview today. And as always, if you can reach your dreams with a step ladder, then they're probably too low. I'm out.